I wanted to let you know that I wanted to speak, to have veterans speak up because your voice matter. And I think it's important that America listen to what you have to say because who else, who better to speak than the men and women who are willing to put up their life in the line for the freedom that this country represents. I know I come from a third world country and I really appreciate what we have here. And I really want my children to make sure that I want to make sure that my children have the same opportunity that I have. So thanks again for doing this. And I probably had different perspective, different things to go over when I first asked you guys to come on. But of course, we have to discuss what happened last week, which is part of, believe it or not, uh, the reason I wanted to do it was to kind of avoid things like that, things like what happened before, because I actually had people. I have met this lady when I was donating blood a few years ago to make it quick, and Donald Trump came on, and the lady got up and say he needs to be shot in the head, and I was shocked to actually because it was the first time that I actually experienced that somebody would say that about the office of the presidency. I know Trump is a very controversial subject, but as veteran, I always respected the office no matter who was there. So, and a few other things happened that actually say, no, we need to speak up. We can't be going like this. We can't have a red states of America and a blue states of America. We need to try to do something about it, and I know you guys can. So uh, let me start with you, Chief Warrant Officer Armstrong. What was your reaction? What went through your mind last week when you saw the news?
Well, usually there's a issue with the person, and we talked offline, and I'm just going to share my personal view. In my generation, the Boomer generation, and I remember back in the day, like say for instance, if you had a point of view, I had a point of view, and even though they didn't mesh, you respect the man or the woman who had that point of view, and and you just move on. Sometimes you can see their side, or sometimes they can see your side and everything else. But with the division that I see within this country, it's the thing that's tearing us apart. And I don't know how to fix that. That's a very hard thing because in my generation, and that was way back in the 60s and 70s, it's way different from this generation that we see today. Um, just like with news broadcasts and everything else, everything is instantaneous and everything, but the division is what's tearing us apart. And I have no idea how or if it can be stopped. I don't know what we can do to change that.
Great. And I don't want to put my inputs in there, so I want to hear Master Sergeant Luis Lopez's reaction. What was going through your mind last Saturday?
Chief brought up a good point about us baby boomers. We grew up, watching JFK, Wallace, with Dr. King. I mean, those types of things as Washington as a youth was just mind blowing, And to see it happen now in our time, in this current state that we're in, because for me, in my opinion, I mean, as a military guy with over 30 years, whether you like the president or you don't like the president, we were there to protect the commander in chief, no matter who it is. We never, that's the way we rolled. So, I mean, but seeing that day was definitely out of line, definitely not who we are, and, but, sadly enough, there are individuals out there with that, that just go beyond the borders of creating that kind of crime.
And I would not worry so much if it was just one incident, but what really worries me is to actually be confronted with the fact that we actually getting a lot of people that are getting very aggressive, very close-minded when it comes to listening to the other side, and this is happening on both sides. So that's why we're here because it's not a problem of one side or the other. It's a problem that we all have to own up to. And I think politicians have to own up to this. The news media have to own up to this. Uh, but just because of my own experience. I mean, I had people that kind of say, "Don't worry so much about facts." It's like, what am I supposed to go by? Feelings? We can get in trouble if we just go by our feelings. So
Mhm.